Stefanie Archibald with Mira USA. This is Shaelin, our ambassador dog, and we are here with Shaelin, our recent guide dog recipient, and her dog Guiro. We asked you guys to send in questions to ask Shaelin, and you guys delivered. So we are gonna get to it and ask her some questions. You ready, Shay?
I'm ready.
Awesome. So a lot of people are asking about how Guiro has impacted your independence. So our first question is, what is the biggest way having a guide dog has impacted your life for the better? Also, knowing what you know now, what would you say to someone who is considering getting a guide dog but on the fence about it?
So the biggest way I would say that having a guide dog has impacted my independence is it's just so much easier to navigate, especially in unfamiliar environments, and I have a lot more confidence when navigating around people and obstacles, because with a cane it's an obstacle finder, and so I have to find the obstacle and then determine how to best get around it safely. But with Guiro, I can just go right around them and I don't even know that they're there, so it makes traveling a lot quicker. And to address the second part of the question, I guess the biggest piece of advice I would give to someone who's considering whether or not they would want to have a guide dog is to really take into account your mental state when it comes to it, because having a guide dog is awesome, but it can also be a really big responsibility. It can cause stress sometimes, and you have to be super responsible and ready to handle that.
Absolutely, great answer. I know we were at a conference the past couple of days, and there are a couple of times when we were in the exhibitor hall, and it was pretty busy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it would have been very difficult to navigate through all of those people so tightly packed in with the cane, but with Guiro, we were just able to go right on past them with no inhibitions.
There you go.
There you go.
And Shaelin, tell them a little bit about like your first year with Guiro. Was anybody allowed to interact with Guiro? Was your mom allowed to do anything?
Yeah, so for the first year, it's very critical that the handler bonds with the guide dog so that they can work most efficiently as a team. So I was the only one who was allowed to pet Guiro, feed Guiro, take care of him. My family who lived with me wasn't even allowed to acknowledge him. So that's just very important so that we have a stronger bond.
Yeah, and I would say her and Guiro have a great bond.
Yeah.
Y'all have an amazing bond, and Shay does really good with Guiro. Okay, what's the next question? This is a good one. Does your guide dog get to play when he is not working?
That is a good question. I know that's a common question. People think that since they're service dogs that they're just working all the time, they don't get dog time. But when he's at home and he doesn't have his harness on, he plays just like a regular dog. He has toys and he runs outside and he plays with other dogs. So it's really important that they have their rest time, or else they wouldn't even want to work because they'd be burnt out.
Does he have a specific command to play?
He does. So in French, it's jouer, which means go play, and that releases him, that lets him know that it's time to just hang out.
And why is it French?
Oh yeah, it's in French because the guide dog school, Mira, is in Canada, Quebec, and so their primary language is French, so all of his commands are in French.
Awesome. So what made you want to get a guide dog? What made you want to get a guide dog?
I've wanted a guide dog since I was very little, and I think the biggest motivator for me was the independence. I've always been a very independent person, that's just my personality. And with a cane, it can be really difficult to be completely independent, especially in unfamiliar environments. And I knew that having a dog would make that so much easier and just give me so much more confidence to move faster through life.
Awesome. What was the first place you felt comfortable navigating with your new partner? And what was the most surprising change in your daily independence?
I think honestly, the first time I felt comfortable with a dog was when I was still in training in Canada, just walking through the kennel and walking around the kennel. I didn't expect to feel as comfortable. I thought I'd be a little nervous walking with them, but it was so easy for me to put my trust into them and just relax. So what was the second part of the question?
Second question is, and what was the most surprising change in your daily independence?
That's a good question. I think, so daily for me, I'm in 10th grade right now, so I when I'm in high school, navigating around the crowds in the hallways can be so difficult, especially when I was in middle school and I had my cane. And so with Guiro, I can get from class to class. He remembers where all my classes are, so he remembers my schedule and he takes me right to the doors. So that's so much easier than having to try and work around with all the people who aren't paying attention in the hallways.
Do you want to tell them a little bit real quick about your first interaction with Guiro and when it was?
Yeah, so I first met Guiro in April of 2024 when I was in Canada for the evaluation. And I think he was the first or second dog I worked with, just in the kennel. And we like immediately clicked, we immediately bonded. He came right over to me and put his head on my lap and I was like, this is my dog. And so when I came back in June, I was so happy that he was still there. And we worked together exclusively from the first day that I went back in June, even though a lot of times you work with multiple dogs, but we are just such a good pair that we work together. We're doing great.
I think we have a picture of Guiro with his head flopped over on Shay, and they're sitting in a chair at the kennel. The moment they met, I mean, it was an instant bond, and we'll try and maybe put those in the comments of this video because it's an adorable picture.
It was great.
Excuse me. Okay, the next one is, what does maintenance look like for you? I'm thinking what they're asking is like bathing Guiro, nail trims, ear cleaning, stuff like that.
So a lot actually goes into the upkeep and grooming of Labraneses, and especially for Guiro because he's a little bit of a longer haired dog. So I have to brush him every day I have 3 different types of brushes because he has a double coat. So we have that. He gets a bath every few months, so I bathe him at home. That's not very difficult, honestly. He gets his nails cut at the vet because I don't really trust myself to cut them. It can be a little difficult.
When his nails are black, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to see the
Exactly.
quick
and I don't want to cut the like vein in them.
Yeah.
Ear cleaning, gets his ears cleaned once a week. He also gets chronic ear infections, so he gets special ear drops, and that's not difficult to do.
And does he like baths?
He hates baths, actually. It can be a struggle. Once he's in the bath, he's good, but he doesn't like to get in there, but we make it work.
Oh, and do you do it all by yourself?
Yeah, I just put him right in the bathtub and fill it up a little bit, and then Mira actually gave us shampoo and conditioner that I still have, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And they, in Canada, they kind of taught you how to do it all, right?
Exactly. I think the second or third week we were there, they took all of the first-time guide dog recipients and they showed us how to clean their ears, exactly the best techniques for brushing them, how to clean their teeth, all about bathing them, everything that we would need to know when we go.
That's awesome. On a little side note, did they teach you how to pick up their elimination?
Yes, they did. Right when we got matched with them, they taught us a technique to clean up after them so that it's easier for us, which is just placing like the back of your hand on the dog's back and then just move right down when they're done. Makes it easier. People ask me that a lot actually. How do you clean up after them? It's not that difficult. Use their techniques.
Oh, awesome. Let's see. Is there anything about your experience with Guiro that surprised you?
I think it surprised me how bonded we actually are. I've grown up around animals my whole life. My grandma had a dog when we lived with her, and I've always been around dogs and cats, and I love animals, but I've never been as bonded to a pet dog as I am with Guiro.
He's like, peace, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I thought y'all were bonded, Guiro. Where are you going?
He's like, no, we're not.
You want to call him back here?
Guiro, come here. Yeah,
What are you doing? Guiro, get over here.
Guiro.
He's like, don't talk about me.
Guiro. Yeah.
I love his necklace. It's adorable.
Yeah, I made that from when we were making friendship
You
bracelets.
did? Oh, because he's your bestie, right?
He's my bestie.
Oh.
Exactly. So I think that was the biggest surprise for me.
Oh. Okay. Let's see, what is the biggest benefit a guide dog provides in increasing independence and confidence for individuals with visual impairments? I feel like we went over that, or?
Yeah, I don't really know if there's anything else I can add because I can only speak to my experience, but when I do talk to other people, they kind of corroborate what I'm saying. It just makes it so much easier to travel.
All right. I kind of have a special question. This is a neat one. It's from Roxanne. It says, hi, I was Guiro's foster family for the first year of his life. I would like to know what you like most about his personality. Hope everything is well.
That is so sweet. And I actually met Roxanne and we've emailed before, so I
Aw.
learned so much about Guiro as a puppy. And my favorite part of his personality is just how loving and affectionate he is. Like, he always just comes up to me and he wants attention all the time. And he just is so loyal and he's so smart. He has a really good memory. If we do a route one time, he'll remember it like 6 months later. Love that about him.
Well, I can attest, and I think anybody who is around you guys can tell how much he loves you and how much you love him. You guys have a great relationship, and
Super close.
it's very sweet. What's your favorite part of the day with Guiro?
That's a good question. I love getting to explore new places. So like my daily schedule is fine and I get used to it, but when we get to go somewhere new, like I just recently went to New York City with Guiro and that was so much fun, getting to explore Manhattan and going to Central Park and just walking around and checking things out. And Guiro loves that the most too.
You told us something kind of interesting about Guiro, about what his favorite smell is.
He loves the smell of coffee. And I don't know where this originated from, but if he smells coffee, if there's an open coffee shop anywhere near us, he immediately wants to go in there. I'm like, okay, we're not gonna get coffee, and we keep walking past. But he loves the smell of coffee, so we'll try to go to every Starbucks, every Dunkin'. I don't know where that came from.
He's like an old man at heart, right?
Seriously.
Oh, okay, we have a few more. Let's see, what is something you wish more people understood about guide dogs?
I think the biggest misconception I get, especially from sighted people, is that when you're working with a guide dog, you just tell them, hey Guiro, find me this place. And then they just walk off and they take you there immediately and they don't ever go the wrong way, they don't ever make a mistake, and you just don't have to pay attention when you're walking with a guide dog, which is so untrue. The guide dog guides you through the little things, the obstacles in your path, but you have to know the big picture of where you're trying to go. You still have to have your auditory skills and you have to have your spatial awareness. So that's something that I wish more people understood.
Yeah, you do a lot of hard work too.
Right, exactly.
They're working hard, but you're working hard too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a team
They don't
effort.
get all the credit now.
Right?
Yeah, you need some credit too. What kind of advice do you have for someone who loves doggos but might not understand what a working dog is doing and what appropriate interaction with you and Guiro when they see you two out and about? So what is an appropriate interaction with you?
Right. And I understand most people love dogs, and you see a dog and your instinctive reaction is like, oh, I want to go cuddle the dog. But when there's a service dog, it's really important that they stay focused on the task at hand to keep their handler safe, especially if you're at an intersection and there's obstacles. They really need to be focused solely on their job. So if you're distracting them by staring into their eyes or smiling at them a lot or talking to them or especially petting them, it can make it really difficult for them to understand that they need to be working. And it can also impact some of their training because they understand that when the harness is on, they're focused. And if they start blurring the lines between work time and play time, that can make it difficult.
Very good. Right. Let's see. Can you explain how your bond with Guiro is different / deeper than a bond with a pet?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, it's just such a different experience that it's hard to understand unless you've actually experienced it. And I've always been close with my pet dogs, but when you have a dog with you 24/7 that really doesn't leave your side and you trust that dog enough to keep you safe in environments where you can't maybe understand what's going on, you trust the dog to figure things out and help you out. It's like it has such a deeper trust and a deeper bond. I think that's what causes it.
You guys kind of become one.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
love it. All right, one more question. My son was curious about the differences for you and Guiro versus a normal pet. Things like, does Guiro sleep on your bed? Our pupster is a blanket hog. Do you allow Guiro to eat people food? If so, what kind?
Good question. So Guiro actually sleeps in his bed on the floor, which we actually got this bed from Canada, and it's super durable. He loves his bed, so he doesn't even want to sleep on my bed. And then he's not allowed people food. He's on a pretty strict diet. We measure his kibble and everything, so he's definitely not allowed table food. On his birthday every year, though, we get him a pup cup from Starbucks, so that's like his special treat. He loves that. But yeah, there are some stricter rules for them when they're off harness, but for the most part, he gets to act just like another dog.
When's his birthday?
September 9th,
Oh, and he will be how old this year?
he'll be 4.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I think that's it. Do you have anything you want to add?
I feel like we covered a lot.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. All right, well, thank you for joining us. If you have any more questions, write them in the comment, and we'll ask Shaelin, and we'll get you an answer. And all right, we'll see you later.